Welcome to Louisiana, where behind the scenes, a high-stakes battle for our children's future is being fought. Meet Caroline Romer, head of the Louisiana Association of Public Charter Schools, heir to a powerful political family and queen of controlling charter schools. Using her family's money and political machines, she helps rig elections, build alliances, and influence who gets to run our schools. But then came Impact Charter School and its founder, Dr. Shakisha Scott, a school and a leader she couldn't control, and that made Caroline furious. In 2024, Caroline helped push a new law called SB 316 through Senator Blake Miguez, a law some say is unconstitutional, giving her the Louisiana Board of Elementary and Secondary Education Board, allies the power to take over charter schools' private federal nonprofit board if they could invent a financial violation for that school. Impact Charter is a B-rated, high-performing, nationally recognized school with over a decade clean financial audits of its operations. Meet Preston Castile, the Louisiana Board of Elementary and Secondary Education board member, lawyer, CEO of a rival charter group, and Caroline's ally. If Impact was eliminated, his empire could grow fast. Preston celebrated quiet victories while Impact's leadership was stripped away. With the takeover nearly complete, all they needed was a final move that looked lawful, a cover story to quiet the families, allies, and leaders who might have otherwise spoken out. So they turned to legislation and to a familiar ally inside the Capitol. Dr. Shakisha Scott was there, like she'd always been, fighting for public education and equity in schools. But this time, she wasn't just met with political resistance, she was met with a personal vendetta. State Rep. Barbara Carpenter didn't like charter schools. Worse, she didn't like Dr. Scott, who had supported her political opponent. With no valid cause and with the encouragement and manipulation by Caroline Romer, Barbara requested a Louisiana legislative audit investigation into Impact and Dr. Shakisha Scott, using her power for personal payback. But the audit wasn't really about oversight. It was about optics, a tool to manufacture doubt, smear reputations, and create just enough smoke to justify a fire to help trigger the enforcement of SB 316 against Dr. Scott and Impact Charter School. And when the audit report was finally released, it was filled with falsehoods, misinformation, mischaracterizations, omissions, and innuendos. It did exactly what it was designed to do. In the court of public opinion, perception is power. And with just a few well-timed headlines, the takeover had its excuse. In less than 2 weeks from the release of the audit report, it became official, without investigation, without due process. The Board of Education explosion. The team that had built Impact from the ground up was quietly erased by a single vote. And just like that, the founders and its original board were out. In their place, a new board, handpicked, not by the community, but by Caroline Romer. Who controls the Bessie board members? Dr. Scott and her husband were forced out. No transition, no plan, just keys turned in, access revoked. 15 years of work, gone with the stroke of a pen, and then she returned. Not as a partner, not as a friend, but as the architect of the unraveling. She had handpicked the board weeks before the audit was even public. Every seat filled with someone who would not question, only comply. They called it a department decision by the Louisiana Department of Education, but the truth was plainer. Caroline had selected the new interim superintendent herself. The Department of Education simply signed off. There was no handoff, no roadmap, no continuity. What followed wasn't order, it was chaos. And while the school unraveled from the inside, Caroline stood pleased watching what she'd set in motion fall into place. The dismantling of Impact Charter School, which was once a B-rated, nationally recognized, high-performing school. After forcing out Dr. Shakisha Scott and her team, Caroline and the interim administration refused to pay rent on the very building Dr. Shakisha Scott built for the students of Impact Charter. Instead, they quietly moved the 450 children into an old, deteriorating facility, one with suspected mold and asbestos, without valid explanation. Without choice, with only 6 weeks of school remaining, in the school year. They stripped the students of the only school home they had known for over a decade and left this purpose-built campus to rot. A $10 million investment, abandoned. A dream, shuttered. Caroline Romer dismantled what Dr. Chiquisha Scott spent over a decade building brick by brick, child by child. But the foundation still stands, and so does she.